2 weeks ago, I got a Kyocera DuraXV Extreme Plus flip phone. In this video, I'll be giving you guys an overview of all the built-in apps. The video will be time-stamped, so feel free to jump to the parts that you care about. I won't be getting into the various options in the settings, but let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a separate video on that. First is the home screen. There are some shortcuts you can use to quickly get to various phone functions. You can start dialing numbers at any time, and this also brings up your contacts that match the numbers you enter, whether it is by phone number, speed dial assignment, or alphabet. For example, if I press 7 for P, it brings up my PagerDuty contact. If I press 1, it brings up voicemail, as that is assigned to 1 in the speed dial settings. From the home screen, pressing send brings up your call history, which lets you cycle between all calls, missed calls, received calls, or outgoing calls. From here, you can also drill into contact details, delete history, or block incoming calls from certain numbers. There is also a button that takes you directly into the camera. In the options, you can choose different resolutions for photos and video, adjust your settings for flash, self-timer, focus, auto review, and shutter sound, which you can turn on or off. If you have a micro SD card installed, you can also choose to save your photos and videos to that instead. While you're looking at a photo, you can hide the text and show just the photo by pressing 1, and you can also rotate the photo left or right and zoom in or out. From here, you can also send it as a text message, set it as your wallpaper, delete it, crop it, or view more details about the photo. There's also the microphone button, which activates the voice assistant, although this is fairly primitive and doesn't let you dictate a text message or anything like that. I find this fairly useless though, because for example, if you tell it to send a text to someone, all it will do is take you into that conversation thread. Pressing the left soft key takes you straight into your contacts, and this is pretty self-explanatory. Here's also where you can set up your speed dial settings, and you can also change how contacts are displayed, whether that's by first name first or last name first. Pressing the center button takes you into the menu, which is customizable. You can choose a grid layout, or opt for a list layout. You can also move them around and change which applications are displayed here. Here is a list of all the applications and shortcuts you can choose to display in the main menu. Next, we'll go through all the applications under General Tools. First is the calculator, which again is pretty self-explanatory. Next is the calendar, which has a month view, a agenda view, and also a week view. Of course, you can also add events, and if you have an Exchange account linked, you can also add tasks. Moving on to alarms, you can of course set up multiple alarms, which can repeat on a weekly schedule. You can also customize the snooze settings, as well as the sound and vibrate settings. Next up is timers. You can have multiple timers running concurrently. The timers can be started and stopped right from here. And here is what it sounds like when a timer goes off. The stopwatch, again, pretty self-explanatory. You can choose between splits or laps. The world clock lets you view times in different cities all around the world in one spot. The Notepad is your typical notes app, although it is fairly basic and doesn't let you add checkboxes, stylize your text, or anything like that. The flashlight has one brightness level, although you can make it blink slowly. It's fairly bright and gets the job done. There's also an FM radio built in, which uses the headphone cable as an antenna. You can store multiple favorite stations so you don't need to manually change the frequency. There is a web browser, however, it is unusably bad. If you're trying to move the mouse cursor and you don't move it far enough, it will interpret that as a click on the web page, and usually it clicks something that you don't want it to. The Media Center contains another set of applications. The first two are Verizon apps, My Verizon, which doesn't seem to work anymore, and Verizon Cloud, which lets you back up your contacts. You also get access to your camera, music player, file manager, and sound recorder inside the Media Center. Sound recording is simple and it does a decent job. Here's a sample of a recording. If you like this video and dumb phone content in general, consider liking and subscribing. The messaging app only supports SMS and MMS, so no RCS here, but it works well enough. The interface is kind of funky. You have to click into a message to have it marked as read, even if you can read the entire message without going into it. It supports sending and receiving media, as well as group messages, although again, it's kind of weird in how it shows the sender of a message inside group conversations. The email app supports Yahoo, AOL, Outlook, and Exchange accounts, so no official Gmail option here, but you can set up a so-called app password in Gmail and turn on IMAP to add a Gmail account, which I've done here. It's hard to read most emails on a tiny screen, but it's good enough to triage emails until you get to your computer. Thanks for watching.